Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Grow and Clip Bonsai for Seniors. Today we're going to tackle my Sago Palm. We're going to put her in a bonsai pot to develop the trunk. It's been dormant like for 8 months, so the bulb is solid. And I soaked it for a good half hour under water to get it rejuvenated, just to try to do something to pull the weeds out of it. And I'm going to grow it for the trunk. I'm going to try to wake it up. So I'm going to use our free draining soil like I did yesterday, of 1 part worm castings, 1 part peat, 3 parts coarse sand, half a tablespoon each of beneficial bacteria of Mycos and Azus from Extreme Gardens. And I got an old pot. It's still good. All I have to do is put the plant in there. But for right now, let's take the palm out and figure out what's going on with it. Put the pot on the side. You can see it's wet from me doing it, but you can see the roots are still alive. And here's some more radial roots on it. So let's take it apart. And we're going to really have to, let me get my rake, or better yet, my chopstick. Let's try to get some of this out of here and see what's going on with it. See, there's a big root in here with a weed. Let's get that out and just chop it. Get most of this soil out. Now, I used peat and perlite on it, and it was growing good all last year, but for some reason this year it didn't want to wake up. And why that is, I have no idea. So right now I'm trying to get all this soil off. I think it'll be better if I get my root rake out and try to get most of the soil out so we can see what kind of roots we got in here. There, that's better. I mean, it's got a lot of fine feeder roots on the bottom. Unless that's the weed roots. And on second thought, it might be, because I'll show you the real roots of this plant. Really, really tough. But I gave it a good shot of water so we wouldn't have to water it. I know it likes a lot of compost in the soil, but it likes to have a good draining soil also. So that's why I'm adding the sand. And yeah, these I thought they were its roots, but no, it's the roots from the weeds. So we got more weed roots than we got Sago Palm roots. But these roots look healthy. They're not, if you touch them, they're not mushy, and they're not brittle. So let's get more of the soil off. I had to put this heavy shirt on because with all this soil coming off of here, it's gonna really be a mess. Getting it all out of the bottom here. We're gonna give it a good soil mix and see if we can wake them up. I know these palms grow about, I think it's about 6 to 8 feet tall. You can correct me if I'm wrong. There we go. Let's put it on the side. Get that soil there. All this garbage out of the way. Let's get some more of this soil off. There we go. You can tell we got a nice root structure here. Maybe we can get a nice thick radial root base too on this, because you can see the tap roots. So, turn this around. I'm sorry if you didn't see that. Let me put the camera down so you can see what I'm really doing. I'm taking all this old soil off of it. Now this will make a nice trunk, but I think we're going to get a good root base out of this too, from what I see of the roots. Look at them roots. And the roots are nice. They're starting to get thick. So maybe we can get a nice radial root base out of this and some thick roots too. Because you can see the roots are starting to grow. There's a whole bunch of roots here. And the soil smells good. I mean, it's not, doesn't smell bitter or nothing. Okay, let's cut some of these off. I'm going to dip and clip. Remember, always a dip and clip. So I'm going to get some of these cut. Now I'm not going to water this because I soaked it for a half hour, mainly to get all the ants out of there. I couldn't believe all the ants in this thing. So maybe that was part of the problem too. And then there's the weeds. So, Mr. Sago, why aren't you growing? So I want this root base to grow straight so we get a nice flare out of it. So I'm going to cut it. And they cut real easy. Now this is a downward facing root. I don't want that. So we're going to cut that. Now we're not going to water this for a couple of days. The reason is because these roots are a nice fibrous root. So I really don't want nothing to rot on here. So if we push this all back like that, you can see it's got a nice radial root base. Something different. So let's clear our soil off of our little dish, and these dishes you can get at the dollar store too. So let's get our soil into the pot, and then we'll trim the roots to see how we get the, let's see, let's put that there. And here's my mixture so you can see it. Let's put that in there. Now before I do anything, well, let me get a little bit more in there, because this is going to be a nice free draining mix with the worm castings in there, so that'll be a good compost. So now what I'm going to do is, you can see all the finger roots here, but since it's been dormant this long, I need these roots to develop. Let me dip and clip again. Now you notice these are my scissors marked for soil. So this one's growing down, you can see it. So I'm just going to take that off. There's another one cascading down. And the rest might develop into a good radial root system. Well, we'll find out. Let me get more of this soil that's in there out of the way. Okay, now we got a downward facing root right here. Let's see if you can see it right there. I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to cut this downward one out. I mean, we could flatten it, but let me get some of these thick downward ones flattened out and get these out of the middle here. And let's see if we can wake them up. Been sleeping too long, but I don't know that much about Sago Palms, how much dormant they stay, but this one did stay asleep. So right now I got the mounted in the middle, and I got them sitting right on top. Now with the palm, you want to keep it about that much, because you don't want this to be buried and rotted. So let's push it in a little bit. Now the roots are out, except this one. This one's curving. See the curve in it? So I'm going to just cut it right there, so we can get a nice radial root base out of this. Now what I'll do, I'll mound it up in the middle better. And then we'll just flatten it into there. Spread the roots out so they're in a nice radial pattern. Let's get our soil in to hold it in place. Now that's going to tilt, so I'm going to take my little shovel there to hold it. Okay, let's turn it around. Now I see why it's not going in, because I got no soil under the bottom there. So we got to get that soil underneath there, because all these roots have to have a good contact point. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to straighten it out so I can get everything in there. Use your fingers to get out the air pockets. And then I'm going to use my chopstick to really work it into the bottom of the root basin to get it underneath there, so we have no air pockets. You see how you do it? I got to remember not to work in front of the camera so you can see what I'm doing. But that's what you do. And Sago Palms aren't that expensive. You can get them on sale, but you got to watch. Sometimes you'll see them just with a dead ball, but we'll see what happens. It should take off, hopefully. But after 8 months, I don't know why. That's like since January, everything just dried up on it, and it just didn't take off. So hopefully the beneficial bacteria will work hand in hand with the root system and spark a little life back into our palm. Now this is solid. There's no rot on here at all. So I know that's good. But whether it's alive, we don't know. And we should be able to get a nice radial root base on this thing, because the roots are nice and fleshy and they're taken off like your fingers. So that's good. So let's get the other end of the chopstick in there, poke it in. I got the flat end of the chopstick in, and I'm really working the soil into the pot, into the sides. And then I'm going to use my fingers and get it in. So you got, it's like almost, how you say, kneading dough. There. And I'm just going to go in gentle with my fingers to get the soil underneath the roots. There we go. Just get it in there. Don't be afraid to dig. Okay, so let's fill it. And we're going to just go I'm going to go just below the lip of the pot. Tap it in. There we go. Remember, don't use play sand. It's too thin. Let's see. You can see the grit on this, how all the grit in there, all the little rocks. So that's what you need for your mix. Torpedo sand's real good if you can get it. You can get it at any good reputable rock place where they sell landscape stone and stuff. It's pretty good. Okay, so let's put it in with our fingers. When you use your fingers, you can feel if there's any holes starting to develop. But right now, that looks pretty good. There we go. Now, will our Sago Palm survive? I don't know. We'll try. We'll give it a shot. Hey, I'm not giving up on it. I had it for 2 years, and for some reason, it just went dormant. So maybe it's temperamental. I don't know. So now I get a couple of rocks on there, just to keep anything from digging in there. Let me see if I can find something nice. Put that rock, even if it's on the edge a little bit, we're just using that to hold it in place and to keep the night terror out. There we go. A couple more in there. Let's see if we can get this in there. And now what I'm going to do is put some more sand on it. So this way here it'll help with the with the dry being dry around the bulb, because we don't want it to rot. Hence, now we're not decorating this now. We're just trying to get this to grow, and the rocks are in there just to keep it alive. Keep anything from digging in there. That one's a little shallow there, so I'll put a little sand there. But that's all you do. You know, some plants take longer than others to blossom, so to say. So right now we're giving it a chance. Let's put a little more there. I wish you could see how nice the sand is. It says play sand where I bought it at Ace, and I bought it because of the grit in it. I looked at the bag very carefully, and there's nice little rocks embedded in here. This is what you really want for drainage when you mix it with your soil. Now, let's put this guy here. Take this off, put that there. Now remember, I'm not going to water it because I watered the living daylights out of this. Let it soak for an hour to kill off all the ants and pull out all the weeds that were in it. So I'm going to let it sit for like a day, unless the sun's real hot and it dries it real good. I want them roots to heal over. I want the beneficial bacteria to get in there and work with the roots. And there you have it. So don't be afraid to give it a try. Don't mind the dogs barking. Today's Thursday. Pull out a good book. Get yourself a hot cup of tea. And if you want to really do organic gardening for your bonsai, get Rodell's book. It's got everything. Gives you all the pictures of the damage and everything that's being done to your plants and how to get rid of it. I mean, it's a very interesting book. Just going by and just showing you the different things it does. And it tells you how to there's all kinds of different scales, thrips, weevils. So it tells you how to get rid of them organically without harsh chemicals. So get yourself a favorite book tonight. Sit down, relax, have a cup of tea. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And I got my little sign made. There you go. With today's date on it. I'll put it in the back. That way there it's camouflage. You know it's there. I know it's there. But nobody else knows it there. See that? Pretty good. There you go. Okay, everybody. Thank you for coming to Grow and Clip Bonsai for Seniors. My name's Tom Novak. And remember, a cup of tea and a good book tonight. Today's Thursday. Have a good night. Take care, everybody.